the simple answer to that is the way you approach the second film is you get everyone from the first film because it worked, and John is a magnificent director and he wrote the script, and how do you argue with Emily and the kids? And so I think once we had a notion of what the story would be with those same actors and the same core skeleton group, you know, John initially decided he did not want to write and direct the movie. So we were taking writer meetings and we were struggling to find a great story, and just John started hearing stories, and I think that he felt that what he was hearing was not good enough for what the first movie was. So he stepped up and said, I'm going to write it. And I think once he started to write it, he fell in love with what he was writing because it was fantastic. And here we are again, you know, the band's back together. John brings an elegance and an intellectual component to the storytelling that we hadn't really had before. He, you know, the way that I feel about the characters when I see them on screen and the way the audience felt about the characters when they see them on screen is a certainly more elevated involvement than we've had before. So I think that John has many strengths. Obviously, working with his wife creates an incredible, wonderful, and safe environment on set, and I think that that transcends all the other actors, and everyone feels great for being here. But John is he's just an incredible quarterback. He has the capacity to, he wrote the script so he knows every scene and what's coming before and what's coming after, and he's challenging himself on a daily basis to come up with different shots or more elevated ways of telling the story. Emily's talent is undeniable, and she's done so many different things. I don't know that she's ever been in a straight-ahead horror/thriller movie. And what is amazing about her is she says so much without saying anything, and she can convey emotion so deeply that the audience doesn't need to hear her speak to understand what she's going through. So when we set off to make this movie, before we had cast it, you dream that you're working with Emily Blunt, but you don't think you're actually going to get her. So here we are with her, and that's, you know, as a producer, we're always going to the squeaky wheel. What's the problem? What's the next problem? The place where we have no problems on this movie is the writing, the directing, and the acting, and she leads that. So at the end of the first movie, sadly, we lose John. And Emily is left to fend for her family with her three children, because they just had a baby. And the house that they are staying in is not a safe place to be. They had just killed 3 of the aliens, and they have to move on. And the question is, how does a mother move on with an infant and 2 young children in a world where there is peril everywhere you look? And Emily has to defend her 3 kids and get them to a place that they hope is safer.